Okay, so you're new to Unity and you want to make a 2D platformer, but you don't know how to code yet. Well, in this video, I'm going to teach you how to code in C# and make a fully working movement controller for 2D platformers. So without any further ado, let's get into it. First of all, you're going to want to make a folder. We're just going to call this scripts. And then we're going to go over here and make another one. We're going to call this sprites. Open the sprite folder, create sprites square. We'll use this to be the player model. Oh, we'll fix it up later. And just for now, we're going to create a C# script and we'll call it movement. It doesn't have to be capitalized or spelled the same way. You can name it anything you want, just don't put any spaces in because that won't work. Now, we're just going to quickly, I was getting some work on a different game done up here, so we're just going to quickly close out all of these. Anyway, we'll come back to this later when it's actually needed. So, first of all, we're going to quickly build our scene. Just going to go to here, set that to 0.5, and that to -3.5. Hold Control to snap it. Oh, snap is different on this one, I guess. Oh well. Have it set like that. So like that, there's a flying block. And then just make the player. We'll just set the position to 0 and 0. Set the X to 0.5 on the size. So it's a little bit different and so we can tell it apart. I'm just going to make it red. Actually, I'm going to go with gray. Okay, here's where we're going to need a code. Well, first of all, we're going to name this player. And before you do anything, you want to make a new tag. Press the plus, and we're going to call this ground. Okay, that's going to be used so we can tell if the player hits the ground. Now we're going to head back to the script, delete both of these. Now we're going to want to get a... Oh, I guess we aren't ready for this yet, actually. We still have to set the player up. Now for the ground, we're going to set up a... Move all of this. We're going to set up a box collider 2D so our player can collide with it. And we're going to get a rigid body 2D. Now, finally, we're going to head down to the... Oh, wait, no, we don't want to add the rigid body. We'll just drag this over to the player. Okay, just remove the rigid body. We don't want the ground, because that adds physics to it. We want the ground to be static. So we're going to add a rigid body to the player. And then we're going to box collider 2D. Now, if we start up the project, as you can see, our player falls and lands on it, but he really doesn't move or anything. So that's what the coding is going to be for. Now here, we're going to want to make a public rigid body 2D, spelled exactly like that, or else it won't go through. And we'll just name this RB2D, like that. You can name it anything you want. I'm just going to call it that for it to be easier. Now we're going to want to make a public float move speed. Now for me, I'm going to make this just, well, to start off I'll do 20 F. Now you don't have to put F all the time, but if it has any decimals in it, whoops, I forgot to do an equal sign. But if it's going to have any decimals in it, then you'll need an F or else it'll count as a double. And down here, we're going to make another public float jump force. This will be how powerful your jumps are. But for me, I'm just going to set this to 20F as well. Now here's where we're going to get into the main coding. Oh yeah, before anything, when you use public, that means it can be used in the entire class up here. So anything that's inside of this class will be able to access these. Anyway, so first of all, we're going to want to do a void. Now, if you were to do update, that goes every frame. but that won't always be extremely accurate since your game might be lagging and we're dealing with physics, so we want to make it as accurate as possible. So we'll do fixed update, and a fixed update is on a timer. Now, next we're going to put the parentheses and then curly brackets and open it up. So now we can edit the function. What we're going to do here, we're going to make a float, and we'll call this x value. This will allow us to check if the X button is being pressed. How we'll do that is x value equals input dot get button, and we'll do this, get button down, and what you're going to need to do to see what it's called on yours, you're going to go to edit, and then you're going to find project settings, then you go to input manager, and then you find horizontal. Well, I made a mistake with the code, but yeah, it's horizontal all the time. So input.get, you don't want to be getting a button, you want to get the axis. Get axis. Now, most people would leave it at that. Whoops, input.get. Most people leave it at that, but how that works is if you press, it goes from 0 to 1, like including decimals. We want to get it without decimals to make the code run smooth. So we'll do raw. Then we'll do horizontal. It needs to be spelled exactly as it was before. Then just to save time, and you want to add this to end the statement or else the code will break. Do that, and we'll set this to y value. Do the same thing, but instead change horizontal to vertical for up and down on the up and down axis, for the y axis. Now that that's done, we're going to, so if, just before we do anything else, hit Control S to save it. We're going to head over to Unity. Okay, error namespace rigid body 2D. So then there was an error here. Now I'm pretty sure that was the error right there. That's all I messed up on, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that was it. So I spelled a rigid body 2D wrong. Anyway, so now we're going to go if. This is just going to check if the player is pressing down. X value is equal to, you want to put 2 equal signs, because this, like 1 equal sign up here, this means for a math equation, it equals that. This checks if it's equal to. So if you're using an if statement, you use 2 of them. If it's equal to 1, and then we'll do this. We're going to want to get the player now. Well, we already have the player. I'm going to go RB2D. We're going to be using velocity for this one. So dot velocity equals new vector 3. That's a vector 3 is the 3 axis. There's the X, Y, and Z. Now, because it's at 1, that means he's going right. So that's D, or the right arrow. So we're going to get it to move right. So we are going to do X value times move speed. And then we'll do, because that'll only be 1, so that's just adding the move speed to it. 0, 0. Now, if my coding skills are working properly, I accidentally duplicated that. Anyway, we'll save that up and we'll check it out. And before we enter play mode or anything, I'm going to add the script to our player. So you'll see all these values, which you can easily modify from here. So if we press this, you should see, yeah, that's way too quick. I'm going to lower this down to 10 or something. Not 5. 3 actually, because I don't want him to move too fast. Yeah, that'll get the player to be able to move. Yeah. Now what we're going to want to check is, so we can stop if x value is equal to 0. So that means if nothing is being pressed, we will then RB2D dot velocity once again equals new vector 3. Oh, and we don't want this, well, we only want this to affect him on the x-axis. So what we'll do is 0, comma space, RB2D dot velocity dot y. And that, sorry if I seem kind of quiet, it's pretty late right now and I don't want to wake anybody up. But what that will do, that'll just keep the y velocity at the same, and it'll just stop him on the x-axis, and it'll do 0 since he's not going to be moving along the z. So now we'll once again close that with a semicolon, save, semicolon, whatever that's called, I can never remember. And once it's saved, we'll check it out. So now what you should see is when you press D, move along the axis, and then stop when you let go. So it's really the same to do this. All we have to do, copy this, Control C, and then we'll do x value, then -1, and we'll just do x value times negative move speed. So that means it'll be -20 instead of regular 20. So now if we start this up, what you will see is we can go right. Oh, okay, I think I messed something up. Oh, wait. Oh, we don't need the x value thing. Just need the value. Okay, that's why that messed up. So, once it's done saving, we'll press play. And yeah, now we can move left and right. If that's all you wanted, then you can just click off the video now. But if you want to add the ability to jump, keep watching. So now we will do void on collision enter 2D. Do that. First of all, we're going to do collision other. So it'll get what they collided with, and then we'll close that. So here, now to make sure that worked properly, we're going to save. Oh, it's collider. Wait, no, there's a capital here. Okay, coding is very cap sensitive, so I need to make sure everything is capitalized properly. Did I make an error? Parameter. Oh, it's collider 2D. Okay. Oh, wait. Yeah, I realized my mistake. Since it's in the two-dimensional way, you'll do 2D here. And then once that's loaded, you'll see that works. Now we're also going to have to add a value. We're going to public bool. This is like checking if something is like yes or no. It's a yes or no value, or true or false. I'm going to call this is grounded. And we'll just set this to false. So now if you check here down at the script, you will see that our player is not grounded. Now the reason we did this here, we want to check on collision enter 2D. We're going to, crap, I already forgot. Oh yeah. We're going to check if other dot, game object. This checks the parent of what we hit. So the collider of what we hit. So this would be the ground. if other.gameObject.tag is equal to, and then we'll put quotation marks. You're going to head back up here, go to the square or your ground, add the ground tag to it. You can name this whatever. I'm just going to call it ground to make it easier. And then spelling it properly, caps and everything, you're going to do ground. And then we're going to put these, since it's an if statement, curly brackets. We're going to is grounded equals true. Now what we're going to check here, we're just going to copy this. If we're going to need to do y value is equal to 1. And since we also want to make sure that the player is grounded, we're going to go end, using two of those as an end statement. And is grounded is equal to true. And instead of doing this, we're going to remove this, and we're going to set this to jump force. And then we're going to leave that. That's going to stay. We're going to change this to RB2D dot velocity dot x, since we don't want to stop them from moving left and right when they jump. And here we're going to is grounded equals false. And now if we save, if that's all coded properly, and we spawn in our character, let's see, moment of truth. We can move left and right, and if we, okay, the jump height and jump force is way too massive. We're gonna scale that down to like 5, so the player can jump pretty high. And yeah, they can jump. Okay, did I? Yeah, that's what I did. It was setting their velocity on the y to 0. Again, I know how to code, I'm just not the greatest at it. We're gonna paste that again, save, and when we get to here, press play. This time, it should work if everything is coded properly. Press up. Yeah. There's your simple movement. It's very nice, simple, and because it's using velocity, you can stop. But one thing that'll happen is if you, first of all, so to stop that from happening, we're going to go to player, rigid body, constraints, freeze rotation. So now they won't be able to rotate like that. So we can hit back there and try that again. If you jump at the side, rotation stays the same, but you'll get stuck on there. So what you're going to want to do, you're going to head over to assets, just to keep everything organized. I'm going to make a new folder. I'm just going to call it PhysMats. Enter this. Going to make a physics material. No, that needs to be a physics material 2D, since we're in a 2D environment. We're going to create physics material 2D. We're going to call this no friction. We're going to set friction to 0. And we're going to head over to the ground object, find this, and drag the physics material there. So now, when you go this way, you can jump at this, and you just slide right off. Now, if you want me to keep going and show you guys how to make a proper 2D platformer with a death screen and everything, a timer, enemies, I might do that. And eventually, once I'm good enough at pixel art, because I'm pretty bad, not gonna lie, I might actually make a video on how to make actual good pixel art. So that's the 2D controller done. Oh yeah, also make sure to save the scene, so if you end up closing Unity, you don't lose everything you did. Anyway, yeah, that's how you make a 2D controller. And that's really all. So make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more coding tutorials with Unity. And I will, I guess, see you guys in the next video. Bye.